And we have two wonderful speakers um, with us on the topic of immigration. Um, this is an interactive workshop, and we're going to be discussing immigration challenges and opportunities for African immigrants. We'll explore and offer a space for shared experiences and practical advice. The first speaker we have is David Rivera. He's been a practicing immigration lawyer since 1982, handling a diverse range of administrative issues, including family petitions, military naturalization, and NACARA applications. He'll explain what that acronym stands for. Um, Additionally, David has extensive experience in deportation defense with a background as a public defender. He is uniquely equipped to assist both lawyers and immigrants with complex criminal immigration matters, known for treating clients with dignity and respect. David is dedicated to ensuring they are well informed and empowered through the legal process. He's also an author and has shared and published author, and maybe he could give us a little bit of reflection on what brought him into the field, and certainly what he's shared with us as an author. I'm going to go ahead and also mention the second speaker, and he will be followed by Janelle Oklu. Oklu. She is the owner of the law offices of Janelle Oklu in Columbia, Maryland. Her practice focuses solely on immigration. She is the former chairperson of the Maryland Bar Association, that particular association's immigration section. She has been practicing immigration law for 18 years. We're just absolutely honored to have both. David, why don't you lead us off, and then Janelle, and then we'll take questions. David?
All right. I'm going to see if can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. First, I'd like to say that I'm going to try to do my perspective in terms of the health issues of immigrants, and Janelle's going to speak also in terms of the professional health providers' career paths in the employment section of immigration. Let me start by saying a few definitions. Here we have U.S. citizens, U.S. born citizens. We have naturalized citizens, and those are those who come from abroad, go through the process of getting a green card, and then become naturalized. Then we have lawful permanent residents, which are your green card holders, and typically you have to have that status for 5 years before you become a citizen. Now, of more recent vintage, we have a category called lawfully present. I'll explain that in a minute, but have people who have temporary protective status actually are not considered to be here lawfully present. And then we have your undocumented categories. And when it comes to health, all of this comes into play as to who has access to health coverage, health insurance, and the doctors. So what we have is about 45 million immigrants in the country, and half of that, approximately half of those are naturalized citizens. Okay, the other half is broken into those who are green card holders, those who are lawfully present, and those who are undocumented. The undocumented count varies depending on who you talk to, but let's say that it's in the range of 10 to 12 million people. Uh, Interestingly, what we have historically is a lot of people coming in and becoming the anchor families for the others. Now, in terms of health insurance, that presents some problems because the way that these mixed families present themselves. In terms of health coverage, let's say I came here because my wife petitioned me and I finally got here. So I came actually here with an immigrant visa, which is the equivalent of a green card. Okay, so now I'm here. I have to wait 5 years before I can qualify for Medicaid or Medicare or any of the federally funded programs. And let's say I didn't come here as a green card holder. Okay, I just crossed the border and I'm here. Okay, so I have no insurance benefits at all. And that's where the problem lies, in how many people are in this group or that group. But basically, the majority of the undocumented people have no insurance. Okay, of late, some may be buying private insurance. Okay, and the quality of those plans is debatable. Then you have families, let's say, who had come here as refugees and had children here in the United States. Okay, the border crossers who are undocumented may actually have children who are citizens, and so you have a situation where the children can have health coverage, but the parents cannot. Okay? And then you have children, this comes in different variations, but you can have children who have one U.S. citizen parent, okay? Or you can have U.S. citizen parents who have one child who is documented, one child who's not documented, because many immigrants, when they came here, at least in Central America, they left their children behind. And so they gradually snuck them in later. So you get a situation where the parent is a citizen now, but they don't want to go through the paperwork process and have the children wait a couple more years, so they just brought them in. Okay. And that's where health coverage is important. And as I said, the federal government has a lot of restrictions, okay, and that's always been historically the case, going back to, the founding of the nation. Most of the early immigration laws were to exclude people for health reasons, okay, and now, in our restrictive times, we can expect that there'll be more restrictions as to the availability of public benefits for immigrants. And then that's where the status of the family is important. Under Obamacare and the Immigrant Children's Health Insurance Plan program, they created the concept of lawfully present. And you have some categories of what we otherwise call non-immigrants who are not citizens or green card holders, but are lawfully present. Let's say you have people working at an embassy who are here on a diplomatic visa of some sort, people who work for the international organizations like the World Bank or the International Monetary Fund or any other such agency who are here on specific visas, and they can be here for years. Some can be here for 20 years. So they're lawfully present, and they can qualify in most instances for insurance coverage, whether it be the federal program. Actually, for those would be the Affordable Care Act or the Children's Health Insurance Plans. Okay. Looking down the road, I see when Trump was first in office and last in office. Thank you. He came up with a title. He used Title 42, which is the health code, to exclude people during the pandemic. And unfortunately, when Biden came into office, he decided to follow suit. Okay, and that's one area where we have to keep an eye on, as to, so-called the pandemic is over. All these rules are. People didn't even know what Title 42 was. So I see more issues coming to bear on just the availability of health coverage, because most of your conservative and anti-immigrant policyholders are going to be more restrictive than anything else. So that's it in a nutshell, and I'll bring Jonelle up so she can clue us in on how the medical profession, health careers portion.
All right, good afternoon. Here we are, already in the afternoon. Okay, so I know that I've already been introduced to all of you, but my name is Jonelle O'Clue, and I'm an immigration lawyer based in Columbia, Maryland. Yes, I'm an immigration lawyer, but I'm also an African immigrant myself, originally from Ghana. And what I would like to talk about is the contributions that African immigrants have made to healthcare in the United States, as well as opportunities for immigrants from Africa through healthcare, through the healthcare industry. I'll start off by saying that by and large, African immigrants actually have much higher levels of educational attainment than the U.S. population on average. Okay? And that's including even African immigrants who come here as refugees or through the diversity visa lottery. Okay? So we have an educated workforce. Also, compared to immigrants from other parts of the world, African immigrants also have higher levels of English ability, which actually makes it easier for them to integrate into the U.S. Workforce. So, as I said, I'm going to focus my talk today on the healthcare sector, because we're here at Johns Hopkins School of Nursing, and I'm sure many of you are interested in healthcare. Here is the amazing thing, okay? And so when we think about Black immigrant workers, and when I say Black immigrant workers, I'm talking about the entire African diaspora. Yes, people from sub-Saharan Africa, but also Black immigrants from the Caribbean countries and also from South America, which is basically the entire African diaspora. 30% of African immigrants work specifically in healthcare. Okay, this is the highest industry for us. So we see that African immigrants are primarily working as registered nurses, we're working as nursing assistants, and also personal care aides. Okay, and just to kind of give you some statistics, in 2018 alone, African immigrants, talking about the diaspora, we earned in just 1 year more than $133 billion and paid almost $36 billion in taxes. So when we consider the impact that African immigrants are having on healthcare in the United States, okay? So I also want to talk to you about pathways of immigration, okay, based on the healthcare sector. Many people, African immigrants, people are aware of, immigrating, basically getting your green card based on family sponsorship, including being married, okay, to a United States citizen or a permanent resident, or having your relative who already came to the U.S. sponsor you. Also, many of us are aware of visa lottery. We call it visa lottery. Officially, it's the diversity visa lottery. The idea of the diversity visa lottery is there are parts of the world, countries around the world, where historically there have been low rates of immigration to the United States. So in order to increase diversity amongst the immigrant pool, they allow each year 50,000 immigrants from those countries with low rates of immigration to be awarded these diversity visa. So visa lottery to come to the United States. But today I specifically want to talk about employment-based immigration, which is an area that not enough African immigrants take advantage of, but in fact, we're very well qualified. As I started off by saying, we have higher levels of educational attainment than even the general U.S. population. And it is possible to immigrate to the United States. It's possible to get a green card even if you don't have a relative to sponsor you, or you're not married to a United States citizen, or you never won the visa lottery, or your country is not so bad off that you need to claim asylum in the United States or come as a refugee. And that is, I'll talk about two modes for employment-based immigration. One, which is the general one, is through labor certification. And that's basically where there are U.S. employers, okay, whether they're companies, organizations, universities, hospitals, nonprofits. There are U.S. employers who are not able to find sufficient, willing, able, qualified workers in a particular field. And therefore, they are allowed to sponsor people for permanent residence in the United States based on the availability of positions. Now, I've already mentioned to you the high rates that African immigrants have in the healthcare field. Healthcare alone, for registered nurses as well as physical therapists, the U.S. Department of Labor has already declared that these are areas of perpetual shortage, meaning there's always a shortage of nurses. There's always a shortage of physical therapists. Currently, there are more than 200,000 open positions for nurses in the United States. Okay, so employers of these nurses, they are able to sponsor people for immigration. Okay, so that is one pathway. Even if you're not a nurse or you're not into nursing, there are other employers who desperately need people. I've mentioned to you another area where a lot of African immigrants work is as personal care aides. We often hear about, live in, this person is doing live in. Unfortunately, many people are kind of working in that sector undocumented. Okay, there are people working in that sector undocumented, but really there are actual pathways for legal immigration. Okay, there are pathways for legal immigration as personal care aides. Also, we know that a lot of our African immigrants initially come to the United States as international students. They come to the U.S. on F1 student visas. And there are pathways, okay, once someone gets their degree, whether they're going for their bachelor's, their master's, a doctorate here in the U.S., that they get initially optional practical training when they graduate. Also for graduates of STEM subjects, okay, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, they get on top of the 1 year that everybody gets, they get an additional 2 years for a total of 3 years of OPT, optional practical training. From there, there's the possibility of being sponsored for an H-1B professional work visa, okay, and also for actual permanent residence, okay, through the labor certification process that I mentioned. That's when the the U.S. employers can't find enough immigrant workers. And then there's one final category I want to talk about, which I'll say this, up until the Biden administration, it had not been as I don't want to say widely used, but people did not have as much success through what's called national interest waivers, NIWs. That's basically when you self-sponsor for a green card based on contributions you have made to a particular field of endeavor. Okay, that is, and we're here at Hopkins, where I know Hopkins is very well known for their research, and many of the people here at this conference also have done amazing work in public health and other areas. And basically, when you show that the work you have done, okay, the work you do, it has to be above and beyond what is standard in your field, okay? So you can't get an NIW just simply for, I'm a nurse, I'm a regular nurse, or even I have a PhD. You have to show that really your work has either brought some new innovation into the field, or you are assisting. And, just looking through the conference program, people are doing amazing work, okay? People are doing amazing work. And prior to the Biden administration, the rates of approval for NIWs was not that high, okay? It was really a very kind of restrictive, high standard, you had to have published in multiple publications, you needed to have been cited by multiple works, spoken at, multiple conferences, all that sort of stuff. But one of the things, little known to many people, that the Biden administration have done is they're like, no, we need to retain, okay, as many of these highly qualified, skilled immigrants who come to study in the United States. And so they've really made it a lot easier for people to be able to qualify for these NIW green cards, this path. Okay? So I'll pause here because I'm sure many of you have questions or issues, experiences you want to discuss. So thank you.
Thank you so much.